A lot of disgusting things happened at CPAC over this weekend, but one of the more disgusting episodes happened with Caitlyn Jenner. Caitlyn Jenner, as we all know, trans woman, running for governor of California as a Republican, has, I think, a staggering 0% of support, but still she's running. But at the conference, she was assaulted verbally with transphobic slurs and hate from CPAC attendees. Now, there is a video of this, and I am not going to show it. I do not want to give any kind of airtime to those things that were said to Caitlyn Jenner. And don't get me wrong, I think Caitlyn Jenner is a terrible person, right? I do not agree with her on any issues. You know, she has said some truly horrific things about homeless people and other people in general, but her attacks on the homeless have been specifically vicious. But none of that warrants the abuse that she suffered from members of her own party at the CPAC convention, calling her a sick freak because she's a transgender woman. There is no place for that anywhere. You want to go after somebody, you go after them on policy. You go after them for what they've done, not for who they are, not for how they identify, not for who they worship, not for what's in their pants, none of that. But that is exactly what the Republican Party is all about today, and Caitlyn Jenner needs to wake up and understand that. Are those tax cuts really worth it, Caitlyn? Because let's face it, that's what you're doing here. You're running for office as a Republican. Hell, you are a Republican because you don't want to pay more money in taxes. That much is obvious. You've mentioned the tax issue frequently when you've talked about your decision to run for governor. You've talked about your friends. Oh, the person with the private jet next to my private jet says taxes are too high. I'm getting my jet and I'm leaving. Yeah, we understand what you're all about. You're selling your soul for money, actually. Selling your soul for money. And you don't care that these people hate you. You don't care that they think these horrendous things about you, that they do not accept you for who you are, because all of that abuse, all of the hatred, all of the slurs, I guess that's totally worth it if it means you get to keep a little more dollars extra every year, right? Is that really what it's all about? And of course, you do have some members of the Republican Party who do publicly accept Caitlyn Jenner. But in my opinion, I believe that's just a way for them to say, oh no, look, we're totally not against the trans community because look, we've got Caitlyn Jenner. She's a Republican, so therefore everything we do on that issue, all of the transphobic legislation that we pass across the country, it's okay because we got Caitlyn Jenner in the party. You know, kind of how they like to use people like Candace Owens as, oh, our black friend over here says it's okay if we do this. They're doing the same thing with Caitlyn Jenner. And she either doesn't understand it or she doesn't care about it because it may put a couple extra dollars in her pocket every year. If you can't get enough Ring of Fire, we encourage everyone to subscribe to our channel for fresh video content 7 days a week. And for even more from me, you can follow me on all social media outlets, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Fair and Balanced.